Yo, welcome to Weird Growth, the podcast where we talk to founders and we hear about the strange and often unpredictable stories that they find themselves on. Today, we're really lucky, actually. We have a couple of Perth podcasting guns, really. We have Alex Dunmow, CEO, and John Nguyen, CTO of Ninja Software. Welcome, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much for taking the time to away from your podcast to be on here on Weird Growth. You guys do have a podcast called Tech Society.
That's right.
Which a lot of people would have heard. Congratulations on all the great stuff you're doing there. Can you tell us a little bit about yourselves? How would you introduce yourselves?
That's a good question. We tend not to on the podcast.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, that's it. You don't talk about yourself. Like
Exactly.
You're talking to others. So
Now's our chance, I suppose.
Please do.
So I've been in tech probably professionally since I was 17.
Wow.
At that point, it's just assembling computers and then into like support roles.
Yep.
I started programming when I was 11.
Yeah.
Building mods for Quake. That's always part of my backstory.
No way.
Thought I was going to be a lawyer.
Yep.
But into actually achieving that goal, I realized that that's not for me.
Yep.
It
happens to a lot of people who study law.
That's right.
Yeah. And then I got into software development, like helping companies basically build systems to manage their internal problems.
Very cool.
I've managed data centers, done all kinds of tech stuff. There about 5 years ago, got a big opportunity that I realized I couldn't do from a freelance perspective on my own, and that's when John and I founded Ninja Software.
Wow. John, how did you get into software development?
Well, not quite as straightforward as a programmer right from the start.
Yeah. You weren't building Quake mods as a teenager?
Absolutely not. I wasn't big into programming until kind of late high school, but my career track is a lot more traditional. I was in the mining industry.
Yep.
Believe it or not.
Yep.
We're in Perth.
You and most of Western Australia, yeah.
Yeah, as an engineer. So
Okay.
Engineer for about 7 or 8 years. Went from mechanical, piping, control systems and industrial networks. So there was a programming aspect to it. But I actually got into programming while I was deployed on site, FIFO in West Africa, in Ghana. And is basically going through the cryptocurrency phase. I learned to trade. I wrote trading bots for cryptocurrency at the time.
What? When was this?
2012.
No one would have known what cryptocurrency was in 2012.
Don't do the maths on that.
Out.
It was pretty good times back then.
Although in Ghana they did, right?
So when I was there, I was trading and bartering goods for Bitcoin.
Get out.
It's probably something we can explore later.
Yeah.
But my point is that I really wanted to trade without pressing the buy and sell button. So I learned to program through that.
That's amazing, mate.
I think we should add how John and I met. So,
yes, please.
Before Ninja, I was building my own startup as a product actually called Block Ninja. So it's kind of stems into the start of Ninja. But I was using a programming language that was relatively new. It's one created by Google, and so I was working alone on that, working from home. It was pretty lonely, so I created a meetup group, a developers group for it, and just put it out there, trying to meet people to talk about his programming language too.
Yeah,
and everyone thought John had done it. Yeah.
Oh no way!
I was an outspoken evangelist for this programming language.
What's it called?
Go.
Okay.
And then I was actually upstairs from Alex at the time in the same building on Hay Street.
Yeah. So I had an office.
That's bananas.
I had an office on Hay Street, near where the McDonald's is.
Yep.
And we discovered that John was one level up, and that business was kind of circling the drain. So it was like perfect timing for
serendipity,
everything that happened.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
And you do see that, particularly in these tech circles, these communities, it's just so critical, and that sort of cross-pollination that happens with people and ideas and skill sets and things.
Yeah.
You just don't know what's going to happen, but if you're part of it, something will happen, right?
If you're just sitting at home alone, even though you might be doing a lot of work, you're not creating a network, and you're missing tons of opportunities in directions you probably don't even realize.
Yeah.
And that's for everyone, not just company founders. That's for people who are doing any kind of work.
Yeah.
It's also good dating advice.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I'd love to get more stuck into the Ninja story shortly, but for now I have a pop quiz for you.
Sure.
If you were to start a new business from scratch today, what would you be doing and who would you be helping?
I I could probably start like 100 companies. Of all the
You get to choose one in this pop quiz.
I actually think if I had a very nice budget and a very long runway, I think I'd probably look into synbio, synthetic biology.
My answer too.
Yeah. Okay, so tell us what's synthetic biology.
So synthetic biology, like biology is not my specialty, but
mine either.
Yeah, but if you look into it, it's the ability to create life from the ground up. So biology traditionally, you start top down. So you have a bee, you cut it open, you pull out its guts, have a look. But synbio is about using biochemistry to create cells from scratch. This is basically made possible after the Genome Project from about 20 years ago.
Right.
And it means that we understand DNA and we can actually use that knowledge to create biological machines. And if you look at the hype's pretty big, right? And I'm no expert on this space.
I think that's the big caveat for
Yeah.
both of us.
No,
anything we say,
but it still sounds really interesting, and that's why you guys want to be into it, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. It's like real sci-fi stuff.
Yeah,
right?
big time.
And there is actually a programming perspective to this. Like that's kind of where it starts.
So I think a lot of people sell it as the ultimate sustainable technology. You grow eventually one day in the far future. You grow things that are machines.
Yeah.
They call it wetware, which is a combination between hardware and software.
Yep.
So you have hardware that thinks. And this space is very new.
Yeah.
But if you look into it, the potential is huge. And that's the kind of space we probably both want to be in.
Sounds fascinating. I'm going to have to go check this out. Yeah, really.
I think one of the great, the sci-fi examples is like you get a tree that grows into a house.
Okay.
Because you program it to, become a house or something like that.
Yep.
Or you get super efficient bacteria that eats pollution or, is very effective at photosynthesis to do other things.
Yeah, so it's like way beyond GM or anything like that. It's the next level.
Ground up machines that are biological.
And to put it in a perspective, I think everyone will understand right now. And again, like any experts actually listening to me, please forgive me.
Please we apologize.
But like the actual COVID vaccine, they've sequenced the genome of the virus, and then they've essentially in a text editor like you would do for programming.
Yep.
They've removed the part of the virus that actually reproduces and just left the shell of the virus, and then used that DNA to essentially like synthesize that into the vaccine.
Yeah, and thank goodness they have. Right?
There's like so many steps have missed there, and like there's so many things that any biologist listening will be like, essentially this tech is really early days, and I think in 50 years it'll have changed the entire world. And most people are not even aware that this is happening. So John and I are kind of dipping our toes in this world, speaking to all the interesting people in it. And I think if someone gave us $10 billion, we'd start a synbio company.
Synbio. Cool. Thanks, guys. We just learned something new. That's really interesting. So the Ninja software. So we know that really early genesis, how you guys met each other, but how did you figure out that this was a business that was worth building?
People got paying us money.
Yeah.
People paid us money for our services.
This is about 5 years ago?
Yeah.
5 years in a couple of months, actually. So,
wow,
we're hitting our 5th year anniversary. Yeah. And, basically the big project that started the whole business basically grew into more contracts, more work, and just organically we grew the team as well. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. And so who is that ideal customer for you guys?
That's a really interesting question that we get a lot. And people go, "What's your perfect customer?" Yeah. As a business owner, someone has lots of money,
sure.
but actually, ideally, it's someone who understands what their idea is.
Nice. Okay.
So they have really well earned domain knowledge, and then they bring it to us to build something that either improves the efficiencies of their business to like a massive amount, or it's something they can actually directly commercialize and build a business around.
In addition to that, I think someone that trusts us is also very important, because they bring to Ninja Software subject matter expertise, but we have knowledge and experience in commercializing product. So when it comes to monetization strategies or technical limitations of something, it's important that there's a trust between the two parties. So that's the ideal customer for us.
All business relationships are founded on trust, right?
Yeah.
I think one of the ways in which like initial engagement with clients is a bit different to what I've experienced with other companies is we actually take things off the quote.
Yeah, we tell them not to do things.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. That's pretty good trust earning tactic.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, essentially for us, it's more like, let's prove this works, and then you can spend more money on it.
Yeah, because ultimately that's what's going to lead to a longer term successful relationship with them. Right?
Yeah, but companies I've seen and worked with in the past, it's more like, how can we sell you more
increase
features?
Increase billables
scope. Like,
the short-sighted sort of aspect to
that
is
it works until there's no one left, and in a city like Perth, it's a bit tricky as well.
Yeah. And I mean, like I feel like Ammo and Ninja Software have a lot in common, quite similar clients in a lot of ways. Yeah. And at a similar stage of their business too, when they're, sort of early stages figuring out what it is that they're creating. Yeah. They do, like, I really, resonate with what you're saying around deep domain knowledge. Like, they understand who their customers are, understand what their problems are that they want to solve, and they want to create a solution and potentially a business to solve that. So, that's actually, I get a lot of energy from working with people like that because they're actually creating something new which does solve a real problem in the world.
We've definitely had potential clients come in who definitely had the money to pay us.
Yep.
And like they've just shown no energy or actual love of what they're wanting to build.
Yeah.
And we just
we don't
take those.
Often
jobs.
it's the love of the idea of being a startup. They're like,
yeah.
They just think of an idea, but they're not really attached to it. Yeah. Whereas
because they think they're going to make more money as a result.
Yeah, or they just romanticize. They watch Silicon Valley, great TV show by the way.
Yeah,
and they romanticize that, even though thinking back, that show was actually pretty horrible to live if it was real. But my point is that people come in and they want to be a startup, but it's really obvious if they don't have that deep domain knowledge over years and years. And often people in industry who have solved their problems have built up IP, but tech is in the way. They can't commercialize it or scale it without the tech.
Yeah,
and that is often what we do. Is we work with a company who they're a successful company. They're already doing good revenue.
Yep.
And we come and say, this thing you're doing, you could be doing it this way, using this like technology workflow, and then that itself is a commercially viable product. And we then work with them to commercialize that.
Turn that into its own product.
And sometimes those organizations are not even for-profit institutions. They're not-for-profits or even charities.
Wow.
The point is we often handle all that commercialization side. Therefore, they don't have to worry about that. They solve their own problems.
Yep.
They then pay back that investment.
Generate income.
Yeah.
That's so cool. So what are some of the things? So if you turned in-house solution into its own commercialized product, which is they're selling out to other customers, what are some of the things you guys can do to help that product get into the hands of customers early on?
So we have a pretty decent sales team ourselves.
Yeah.
And so if it's one of those products where it's not a B2C SaaS, for instance, it's a B2B solution.
Yep.
We'll actually engage a sales team to go out and sell it for them.
Yeah, amazing. And so do you take a little slice or a piece of that
contracts
action?
Yeah, it depends on the client, really.
Okay.
Yeah. Essentially, we will make money from further development and from hosting and just providing.
So the upside there from them selling more of those widgets is you guys.
Yeah, our revenue is tied into the success of that platform.
Sure. Yeah. Nice. That's the ultimate service business, right? If you can help your customers generate more revenue and more money to spend with you, that's actually that alignment and is really what we call a partnership, right?
Yeah.
And if you can have clients like that are just going to keep coming back because of the success that you're driving for them. Yeah. What an amazing business.
And then
well done.
Like we take the pain out of the end of it because a lot of people don't actually want to commercialize what they've made. You know, like they think they do,
Yeah.
but the actual process itself is pretty full on. And if you
Right.
don't already have that established network and processes, like
Yep.
you'll probably either fail or just kind of
Or just hate it.
focus on something that has
Yeah.
quicker returns. You know.
Because like all that IP they develop is not through running a business. It's actually through the work and knowledge that they've built up with what they do.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you start bringing in other things like, you know, creating a separate business to commercialize a product, suddenly it wasn't what they loved in the first place. Not always the case. You know, some people can run with it. But, you know, it's on a case-by-case basis.
And obviously we've built stuff for proper startups that, you know, they've got all that handled and their investors are fixing those issues. And, you know, we just built the software. But our perfect like customer solution involves that long-term.
Yeah, that's really sweet. And it's a completely different, probably quite a different value prop to what a lot of dev houses out there do. That's great.
I do want to say we do boring software stuff as well, you know, billing systems and and
we all need
ERPs
those.
and all that kind of stuff. I mean,
Sure.
you have to.
Pays the bills.
That's right.
Yeah.
So for the startups that approach you, that you know they sort of have an idea or whatever in mind. What's the process for them? How do they get started with building software with you?
So first step is we do ideation if they haven't done that already.
Yep.
So perfect. Actually, the perfect customer to walk through the door is someone who's already done wireframes and business logic and all that stuff. But
it's more rare than you'd think.
Yeah, is that right?
Think.
About 50-50.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we will do that with them.
Yep.
And then we do a full design prototype.
Mm-hmm.
So we actually use Adobe XD.
Okay.
I'm sure you're familiar.
Yep. So mapping out like UX and things like that.
Yeah,
UI.
Full color schemes and animations and all the views are linked together as well.
So it's interactive and it looks and functions like it's the real deal.
Yeah. So that's a deliverable on its own because the client can use it for pictures, slide decks and all that kind of stuff as well.
Yeah.
And
they can test their market.
Yeah, they can show it to someone and actually know if they want to use it.
Mm-hmm.
And from there we can actually start. We know what the scope is. Like it's the scope is locked into that design.
Yeah, and then we can fix fee, which obviously appeals to startups who generally take that fixed fee quote back to their investors and say, "I'll need this."
Yeah. Why is fixed fee important for them?
Well, because that's the de-risk for their investors is that cost doesn't blow out.
Yeah. Is that something that happens often?
Of course.
Yeah.
99% of the time.
Scope creep, all that sort of stuff.
So
Agile Software Development
I was gonna say,
something worth talking about.
Anyone who's paid any attention to software development for the last 20 years has heard the term Agile. I think it's bleeded into other industries as well.
Yeah. We probably use it in marketing.
Yeah. Lean as well.
Yes.
But from a software development perspective, as a software development like consultancy, it's a license to print money. So it's essentially it works by every 2 weeks, which is a sprint. The client will then come in and like approve the work that's been done and set the
new scope basically.
Now, when we do it Agile, it's not a license to print money. We're pretty upfront and transparent. But ultimately, clients, when given that kind of control and input, change their minds constantly.
Right.
So
and you know it.
That's right.
So even if you're a completely honest actor in this process, they are going to go, oh, what if it did this and what if it did that? And then
they've had 2 weeks to go and think about it.
And the devs will be like, yeah, sure, we'll do that.
Yeah.
And then suddenly, extra 2 weeks of work.
Right.
Yeah. Suddenly you're a year behind.
Yeah.
And your budget is now gone.
And I guess like playing devil's advocate, they probably, it's understandable they might do that because they're not software development experts. And then when they start to see things unfold in front of them, they start to realize the added features.
Yeah, it's really easy to sell.
Might be
it's really easy to sell the agile concept. It's like, keep coming in and you can see it grow before your eyes.
It's going to keep getting better, a constant improvement.
Yeah, unfortunately, it does. The separate part is it's too much power. Where you have to think about the limitations of your budget and also your time as well.
So you guys do fixed fee, but still agile.
We develop using the same like processes. We use Scrum and Kanban and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But we have it's all laid out in a waterfall essentially to track milestones and delivery.
Yeah, but it all starts from the design.
Yeah.
So the design informs the estimate, the plan, and the fixed fee as well.
And
So you lock that in at the start,
with
you agree a
variations,
fixed fee.
with possible variations, of course. But and it also means that with fixed fee, we're incentivized to finish it as fast as possible.
yeah, that's right.
There's no reason for us to just blow it out because it's fixed fee.
Yeah.
Which Agile pushes you the other way. You're incentivized to actually take longer.
Yeah.
You want to be, if you're doing Agile development, the average software development company doesn't want to move too fast.
Yep.
So,
So the incentive on fixed fee is you guys pump it out, get it done
that's right.
efficiently and on scope and everything else. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you wish that clients knew before they came to you?
How much software development costs?
That's a good one because like we keep harping on about fixed fee and stuff.
Yeah.
But when they actually get that fixed fee,
The quote, yeah.
they go
freak
silent. They often go silent. They're like, "Whoa, that's higher than I expected," or I could get it done somewhere else offshore for 10 times less.
Yeah.
Which
So,
is something else we should talk about.
Sure.
well, there's a really different experience for us with potential new clients who have had experience in doing software development and those who haven't. And those who haven't often get distracted by low ballers. That people out there who are quoting way too low, and we know they're not going to deliver for that. It's almost impossible.
So it's like the construction industry tactic where they just like quote low and then win the job, and then once you're in, you've got
Exactly.
it. Yeah.
What are you going to do?
Yeah.
And so we don't do that. When we deal with a client who has had experience, they usually give us an estimate before we've quoted that's higher than we're actually about to quote. Yeah.
Wow.
So it's a massive difference.
Yeah.
There's also the bias towards off the shelf, the concept of off the shelf these days as well. And we've seen it a few times where they're like, "Oh, can't you use an off the shelf solution?"
It's like white label or whatever.
Yeah, or even one of the low no code systems.
Yeah.
And ultimately we're in a software engineering house, and we see the limitations of scalability and flexibility of these systems before it becomes apparent. And I think that's something to keep in mind is that off the shelf, if it truly was off the shelf, then you don't really need to build a new product.
No.
Yeah. You probably actually don't have
You're
a good
reinventing.
idea.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so that there's things like Bubble and
Airtable is a good one.
Airtable. You can stitch stuff together with Zapier, and I think those are super important.
I
for this
encourage
startup
people
space.
to do it.
Yeah, that's your proof of concept.
Sure,
So,
yeah.
so Ninja's position is starting from the minimum viable product stage.
Lovely.
The POC, the proof of concept, is when you bring in the Airtable stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I actually encourage people, if that's the route you want to take because you want to save money and you don't want to invest too much to prove your concept, to prove it to the market or whatever, then go do that.
Yep.
It's not what we do.
Yep.
And that's
good.
Yeah, it's sometimes difficult explaining that to people because they're like, oh, but you could achieve it cheaper and quicker. And I'd actually argue that for most of the time. But the point of low code and no code, or mostly no code, is that it makes it available to lay people.
Yes.
And that's great.
Yeah.
We're not lay people.
I mean,
so
we
do it that way.
One of the big no-code ones is Wix or Squarespace.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you can build websites now. Anyone can build websites now, but at what cost, right? And then suddenly they need a form, or they need custom domain names, or they want like chatbots or something.
Yeah. You've been able to build your own website since the 90s on GeoCities.
That's
It
right.
doesn't mean it's going to look or do anything.
Yeah, it's just that kind of limitation that people have to be aware of. That's all.
Of course. Yeah. And like the reason I say, like, I would prefer to have a client come to us, for example, who has already built out that very early stage proof of concept or even MVP, or minimum viable product, where they have a very clear idea of the problem they're solving, who their customers are, and they've got a roadmap and a clear vision of what they want to achieve next. So they've gone from 0 to 1. Now it's time to go from 1 to 10 and really turn the dial up. And that's where that expert advice and professionals can really make you successful.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
that's what
100%.
Yeah. That's awesome, guys. You do a really good job of promoting yourselves in the WA tech scene. People, and I think that we're talking about trust. Like, I think that goes a long way towards building that trust and familiarity with people. What sort of things do you guys do in that space, and why do you do it? Like, you do your podcast. What other things do you do to sort of grow your profile?
I I mean, the podcast definitely takes a ton of our time.
Yeah.
We support things like the Game Changer Awards, which
Oh,
is a it's kind of like a
It's a STEM Awards science fair.
Cool.
Once
Science fair, yeah.
once a year, a bunch of schools come together and have all their projects, in a single venue.
it's like primary school to year 10, I think it is.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, so we run. Yeah, that's a pretty good one because we help with the tech for that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Because the judging of these kind of events is usually lots of paperwork and people running around. So we try to solve that pain point.
Yeah, good on you guys. That's cool.
We also do a lot of stuff with high schools as well, from the private schools to like less advantaged high schools too.
Yeah.
That's probably more part of our long-term commitment to curating technical talent.
So important.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice work.
And then just
And that definitely does not feel like marketing or branding
that's
at
right.
all. Like you guys are doing that for
a lot
the
of
right
it's
reasons.
a lot of it's like we wish we had that kind of stuff when we were
Yeah.
younger as well.
yeah,
Yeah.
And so we just create it.
but it shouldn't be undervalued from a marketing perspective because we've definitely had like high ups at big companies approach us because
They
they've
see what we're
seen
doing.
something
No way.
we've done with a high school. Yeah,
Amazing.
it's crazy. Yeah, you
Yeah.
would never think about it, but the people are networked in ways you don't understand or conceive.
Yeah. And that is a big part of just brand building is you it's completely the opposite field end of the field to performance marketing. Like if you're doing things in your community, giving back, being seen to being contributing, that's earning trust. It's showing that it's demonstrating that you're an expert in your field. Then eventually that sort of is going to start spinning a flywheel somewhere.
Yeah.
And it's going to pay dividends.
Yeah,
it's just like the old, like you give before you take or you ask,
Yeah. And ultimately, it's like you're investing in social capital. So, over time, people will take notice and over time, people will remember you. And it's worked well for us.
It has.
In terms of just general talent building, we also do a very good internship program.
Okay, nice one.
Yep. So not quite related to being well known in the space, but we like we like helping people getting their foot in the door. I think personally, I was a mining engineer, not a software or computer science graduate.
Yep.
And the struggle is quite real for those who want to get into programming. It's very hard.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of barriers to entry and,
Yeah.
you can go and do your computer science degree at uni, but it doesn't really qualify you to do much. Weird Growth is sponsored by Ammo Marketing. In fact, we're recording the episode here in our offices right now. If you're interested in growth marketing for innovative businesses or even just checking out what we do, please visit ammo.marketing and have a little look around. Thanks so much. Let's get back to this amazing episode. How do you identify your interns?
So anyone can apply.
Yeah.
And then we just look for proof of capability. So essentially a GitHub profile. So
Okay, nice.
full of their work. And, we're looking for passion. Essentially, I'm looking for like what I was like at 11 and just trying to do stuff for fun.
It's cultural fit before skill set.
Well, I know I'd actually say it's more like it's the kind of skill, it's not like neurosurgery.
Yeah.
It's something you can do in
Right.
your own home.
Yep.
The computer.
With a cheap computer
Yeah.
and a bad internet connection.
Yes.
Like the barrier to entry is really low. So
if you haven't done, if you say you're a programmer, but you haven't done the things that don't have a barrier to entry,
Yep.
it's a bit of a red flag.
Definitely.
massive red flag.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, how hard can it be to Google and to learn yourself?
Yeah.
If you're curious, if you've got the right personality to give things a crack.
Curiosity is a good one. So
Yeah.
the engineering mindset and the hacker DIY curious mindset is something that we try to cultivate.
Yeah.
And it's what we look for as well. A degree can help with pre-knowledge on optimization algorithms and stuff, but that doesn't actually tell you how curious you already are.
And so actually one of the things I like to talk about is our hiring process.
Yeah,
so
please.
we don't care about prior experience. We don't care about university degrees. We literally only look for proof of capability.
Mm-hmm.
And anyone who even barely qualifies from a visibility perspective on that level,
Yep.
we send them a link to
It's a list of resources to learn.
Yep.
Yep.
and then a link to schedule a test.
Nice.
They pick the test date whenever they want. So usually they can do it even like 2 weeks in advance. So they've got some time to prepare.
Yep.
They then come in for an hour. They sit in front of a computer. They don't talk to anyone. They like have a crack at this test.
Wow. Yeah, right.
It's a bit open-ended. So
Yep.
it's like we don't expect them to finish. We just want to see
What they can achieve in
how
that
their
time.
brain works.
Yeah.
And then we pick the best ones.
So good.
And so essentially, maybe not in this job market, but prior to COVID, we'd get like 200 applicants. And I would say 1% of the people we tested
Can actually program.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
And the ones that came out on top, their interview skills or their CVs did not show that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
CVs are just an absolute.
Well, it's actually an exercise in marketing, right?
Yeah, well,
So
you can make up whatever you want.
As
on
a
their website.
programmer, you're not necessarily good at marketing. As a programmer, you're not necessarily good at interviews either.
Yeah. So what would you say to young people who are really keen to get into this field? What
Just get building.
Yeah, start building stuff.
Yeah.
so practically what can they do?
I mean, everything.
You could deploy an app to the internet. You could try to build some video games.
Yep.
Do stuff in the crypto world. Like,
Yeah.
How would you learn how to do it? Like, where do you start?
So the way I learned was I loved Quake. Like I'm still a massive Quake fan.
Yep.
And I smashed Quake 2.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to keep playing it, but
It was over.
it was finished.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, now I want to make my own world in this. And thanks to id, the company that make it, they built it so it was very extensible.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of stuff out there.
There's like open source tools and things to go and start building maps and stuff.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. And they had their own programming language for it called Quake C.
Yep.
And so I set myself a goal. It was a very, very ambitious goal. I had this whole story mapped out and everything. And I just started building it. When you start, you're shit.
Yep.
Excuse my language. But
No, mate.
Yeah.
Say whatever you like on this
Cool.
podcast as well. It's
Excellent.
called Weird Growth.
You're shit. So
Yeah.
you just got to get over that. And you just keep copying and pasting other people's work until you kind of understand it. You realize that it's shit and you delete it all and you start again. And then, 2 months later, you're even better. So you delete it all and you start again. And eventually you're really good and you've actually built the thing to solve your problem.
Yeah, so you were driven towards a single goal, which is it's like the same as how I got into it as well. But for me, it was more, profit related.
Yeah. But the narrative is the same. I think if someone's passionate about something, they will figure it out.
Yeah, it's not about passionate, not about
curious.
programming.
Yes.
Yeah.
Passionate about the thing that they want to do.
Yes. Yeah, and I think that my advice to someone, I'm not a programmer, but if I was interested in learning more, I mean, I taught myself Visual Basic and stuff in high school. And I thought I could program, but it was that started with the vision of what I wanted to achieve.
Yeah.
And then it just makes it so much easier and more enjoyable to learn when you have that thing that at the end of the tunnel that you're trying to get to.
Goal-based learning for me is the only way to learn. It's the only way I learn.
Yeah.
I can't learn in a theoretical way.
Yeah. And I think, the same for startup founders who are trying to figure out like what it is that they're doing. Like the reason that some of them are so successful is because they are just so driven for the passionate about what they're trying to
A lot about startup ideas is just noticing what bothers you. It's like, I wish there was something that
keeping an eye out for bugs.
Yeah, I wish this didn't bother me so much.
Yep.
Then I'll fix it myself.
Yeah. Something we do even here is just keep on the whiteboard a bug list inside the business. So if we notice something which is like a little bit of annoying or a bit of a pain, like it goes on the whiteboard.
Yeah.
And
That's a great
then
idea.
once a month we actually have a day we call Blue Day, which is down tools, no client work. And we just work on the business and we pick something off the bug list and we figure out ways that we might be able to fix it or improve it. And that might become a little tool that we build using no code, using Bubble or something, or it might be just a process that we change in the business. And we just find that sort of iterative process. Once a month, the business continues to improve and get better. And it gives us that bug mindset too, which we like to see in our clients.
And that's so important. We try to dedicate about 20% of our resources to internal stuff and also our own product range.
Yep.
Because if you don't, your business won't grow.
Yeah.
You'll be so focused on your current work.
On your billable hours.
You'll miss
sheets.
opportunities for future work.
It kind of sharpens your tools as well. Kind of pushes you outside of your comfort zone a little bit. and you're not practicing on client work, which is not what you want. So,
Yeah, and I think people just enjoy doing whatever they want.
yeah,
It's like one of those
really
things.
motivating. People will learn.
Yeah, like kind of like Google's 20% time as well. It's like in day to yourself, just a day a week, just do what you want.
Yeah.
And some really cool stuff comes out of that.
So I'd love to hear how you guys think about as a services business and looking for product opportunities. How do you, so you do your, say, 20% time, like what does that process look like? How do you figure out what directions to or problems to solve, or and how do you turn that into something which might become a business?
So that's interesting. I would actually say with the products we are working on, we didn't so much look for a problem to solve. It was more like, how should the future look?
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and sometimes some of the projects are not even business based. They are like, I would say, close to entertainment or
Nice.
which is a totally different question set. You never ask what problem does this solve?
Yeah.
It's more
Oh,
like,
I'm bored. Yeah.
Yeah. What
Exactly.
what would keep me interested?
Yeah.
What kind of video games would I play?
But it's more, what would you like to be entertained by?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah. No. Nice. It's fascinating. Are there any examples you guys can share?
too early.
Too early. Some cool stuff cooking
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
All right,
yeah.
we'll keep posting
in the Skunkworks lab.
Yeah. Nice one. I'm excited to hear more about it, guys. So what could possibly be next for the future for Ninja Software?
We have pretty big ambitions.
Yep.
I have always felt that Perth needs an Atlassian. So Atlassian is a multi-billion-dollar software company in Sydney.
Yes.
They built that wealth by creating Jira.
Yep. So
I'm sure-
basically the tools for software developers.
Yeah. That's our ambitions. We
Wow.
want to do maybe not building tools for software developers, but we want to become Perth's flagship software development company.
Very exciting. Yeah, that's awesome.
Mm.
I think we were talking earlier about how your clients have that deep domain knowledge and customer understanding, and that's ultimately what sounds like you guys are aiming for too. And it's MailChimp sold for $12 billion last week.
Yeah.
Started out as a marketing agency
Yeah.
who saw their clients struggling with just sending email newsletters out. And so they were like, okay, we're going to build a solution to it.
Yeah, so I guess at some point Ninja Software will have a huge suite of products.
Yeah.
Many tens of thousands of users, hundreds of thousands of users, millions of users.
And it's all going to come from here in Western Australia.
Pretty much.
And like we'll never leave Perth. We may grow into other areas, but I love Perth.
We created Ninja Software to because of that. Right?
Yeah.
So the talent pool was here in Perth. We have a very strong engineering culture.
We don't offshore, so none of our developers are anywhere but Australia.
Yep. Likewise.
Yeah, and we wanted to have that tech presence in Perth. Again, being entrepreneurial, I suppose we didn't see it, so we just created our own.
Yeah.
Well done, boys. Yeah,
and it's taken
so good to say.
Yeah, it's been several years since then, but I think we've seen some decent change over time.
Yeah.
There's a big tech startup scene that's growing very fast in Perth. All the meetups that are growing for the programming, and then the She Codes movement as well is very cool. And I think in general, like the people in Perth see tech as the future.
Yeah. Well, I think there's I constantly butcher Mike Cannon-Brookes' quote that essentially in the future, or even now really, all companies will be tech companies.
Yes.
And any company that doesn't adapt and change their medium to tech, I don't just mean delivery through the internet. Like there's a difference between a company with a website and a company who uses technology to actually systemize their processes and improve their whole delivery. They will get left in the dust. And I mean, it's in a big way. Like the banks, for instance, they're very resistant to change. No open APIs, walled off little product suites, and eventually Google and Apple and the likes of these, and then the new tech banks that are opening, they will definitely end up eating their lunch.
Yeah.
You can already see it. I think because at the moment there's that service we talked about the other day, Basic, I believe. and they provide bank feeds as well as roll-up techniques for transactions. It's all driven by screen scraping. So
Really?
Yeah, even today, the banks do not provide open APIs.
What?
However, there are cool, hip, young banks that do.
Well, the banks have actually they've managed to use regulation to lock that down.
Yeah, kill innovation.
But that will go eventually.
Just a matter of time.
And they'll just be left in the dust.
Yeah. So exciting. In a good, it's scary if you're in one of those old school industries, but it's exciting for the opportunities of new businesses that you can create.
But my existential fear with this is that if we don't focus on creating a really well-nourished tech community here and focus on those skills of the future in a more holistic way than what they're currently doing and this kind of lip service to innovation. Then we will end up also being left in the dust
as a state.
Yeah, and most of our resources will end up in other countries.
Yeah.
So
no, it's really interesting. And it's so good to see what you guys are doing in high schools and things. My view is I would love to see more kids coming out of high school, or even not if they don't feel the need to complete high school, but with that entrepreneurial kind of spirit where anyone can be an entrepreneur if they want to be, if they're, and that should be an option just as much as being a lawyer or a doctor or an engineer as an option when you come out of school. That should be something which is desirable. Because
even from the programming perspective as well, it needs to be normalized and not be some dude
not
in the
geeks from
basement.
Yes,
Yes, right.
Yeah. No, it's I do really hope that the next generation of kids coming through school just see that as something that
just normal.
Yeah. And I think it really does need to be focused on from an educational level, because when we were kids, tech was hard. So to play to play a computer game, I had to know what I was doing on a computer. I learned stuff just to play Need for Speed or whatever on my computer, right? But
we'd download the cracked bloody CD and figure out how to do the serial code and stuff. Yeah.
Whereas now tech's really good.
It's too friendly.
I was thinking that. It's too easy.
You can use it and not understand what you're actually doing or what is actually going on. And I think there's actually a bit of a gap there.
Yeah, that's a good point.
There's a regression, honestly, because the tech's gotten so friendly, so easy to use that you don't need to know how it works. Yeah. It's pretty dangerous.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was talking to, so I've got a 2.5-year-old and, she's getting ready to figure out where she's going to school and things. And I was talking to someone the other day and they were like, remember when you used to sit in year one and learn how to write cursive handwriting? The A with the tick at the end and the B with the open thing, so that you can then learn how to do running writing?
Yeah.
Why are they still bothering with that?
Do they still teach that?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
Why even learn how to handwrite when we're all going to be using keyboards in our? We all use keyboards in our careers now, right?
Yeah. I mean, I only ever write in my notebook, which no one else ever sees.
Same.
And I don't use cursive.
Yeah. And the only reason I write in my notebook is so that I can write my to-do list off and then cross it off and get that dopamine hit from crossing shit off.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. But there's so many questions around the education stuff, and it's obviously for another time, but thanks so much for what you guys do in that space. Something we always do on Weird Growth is a little show and tell time. Cool. So a favorite tool or gadget or bit of software or device that is changing your lives, either in business or in your personal lives. So, John, do you want to share what yours would be?
Yeah, the first one that comes to mind is during COVID lockdown last year. Yeah. Well, the big one, right? Which is what?
Yeah, the only real lockdown.
Or something in Western
February.
Australia.
For us, it was quite early. I think February.
We saw the writing on the wall, so we sent the stuff home mid to late Feb.
Yeah, we were preemptive work from home for us. So that was a Feb to July work from home. One of my concerns was mental health, actually. So how do we know how our staff are doing? I think we looked at some systems.
Yeah,
they weren't great. They were surveys that come in and stuff.
Yep.
So I wrote my own.
Of course you
I smashed it in a weekend.
Yeah.
I call it the feels bot.
The feels bot.
Yeah, and it just asks how you feeling. Every day, 4:45 p.m. He goes, "Hey man, how's it going?" or woman.
Yep.
And what happens is you can actually say happy face, sad face.
Yep.
And then the last question is there anything you want to tell the leadership?
Yep.
Anonymously.
100% anonymous. Check the source code if you want. It's open source. Check the database. It's open as well.
Yep.
And we actually get really cool stuff coming through there because some of the devs are a bit shy, a bit introverted.
Yep.
And again, young people are also not keen on speaking to your face if you're the boss. So we get all sorts of wacky stuff coming through.
Yeah.
And it's great, right?
Yeah.
Wow. How nice.
Yeah. I mean, I can't think of any off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Well, there was, for example, the time we put up the stickers on the front of the office, the glass stickers, right?
Yeah.
And we got anonymous feedback that there was too many
stickers.
Yeah, too many logos on the front of the business.
Yeah, but rolling back to the mental health story, everyone was like, yeah, working from home is great. I love, I can like roll out of my bed and go to my computer.
Yeah.
And over time, it started to deteriorate over the months.
So you started seeing more.
Yeah, there were just messages were coming through saying, "Oh, I can't wait to get back to the office. Like, I miss the others," kind of thing.
Interesting.
And they'll never tell you to your face, right? But we see that, and I think that's probably my most impressive bang for buck time I spent on that weekend for the values being brought to the business.
People have actually used it to kind of report that they've noticed someone else not dealing very well.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah, so
it's the power of anonymity, honestly. Yeah.
So is the FieldSpot something that you guys have released as a product, or is it?
I thought about it.
We've had people ask.
Yeah.
We actually do have a partnership with Crime Stoppers WA. We built their platform called Safe to Say, which is kind of close in spirit. And,
wow. So is it on Slack or something?
No, this is Telegram actually.
Telegram?
It was built on Telegram.
Another example.
Discord as well, actually.
Another example that's also a bit humbling for me is we had this quick operations meeting in a room full of other people, and it was to make technology decisions. And apparently I was a bit rude, quite abrupt. And
someone said it was a bit rude.
Short. I was kind of just like, why would we do that? And I could handle myself better.
Yep.
And someone pointed out in the anonymous feedback, I thought that was a bit rude. And I was like, yeah, probably right. So I made amends. But it was good to get that feedback.
So good. So powerful to have
no
that.
one honestly would probably have the, they don't want to come and say it to my face. Like that's
because there was a recent, I was talking to someone, I can't remember who now, but he said, oh, I'm happy to talk to my staff. My door is open. Yeah, right. But that's saying, I actually hate that saying, because no one walks through that door to tell you that they don't like what you're doing.
Yeah. And that's such a scary thing for most people to think about even imagining doing.
Yeah. And there's very few founders and company heads that are actually what's the word? It requires a kind of personality type.
Yeah. It's like radical candor.
Yeah.
But not everyone can do it.
Exactly. And when you're giving someone negative feedback who has a strong personality, that's difficult. But doing it anonymously,
no repercussions.
Yeah, that's super powerful.
Until we get some insane ones. But I think so far,
been a couple,
but our culture is strong enough and consistent enough that they're happy to tell us things.
They would have been fine saying that to my face. Someone made that really clear. But I can understand why no one would.
You'd be okay with it, right? But the guys might not be. Right?
Well, they don't know how I'm going to react.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, all evidence up to now might point out that I would handle it well, but you'd never know.
Yeah, but as leaders, it's our job to either create a space where people feel safe to give us that open, honest feedback. But if that's not possible, that tool that you guys, the FieldSpot sounds really cool.
Yeah, it's got product potential.
Yeah, well done, Liz. Alex, do you have?
So mine's not a ninja one.
Yep.
Because I just want to share this to anyone who's about to have a child.
Nice.
Or maybe has a 1-month-old. My favorite piece of tech ever is a product called the Snoo.
Okay, the Snoo.
SNOO.
Yep.
It is essentially a crib that automatically rocks your baby. Yeah, it has cry detection, and it has sleep sacks.
White noise generator, right?
It's got a white noise generator in it.
You guys are seeing the value, right?
Man, I've got a 2.5-year-old. We've got another one on the way.
Yeah.
Abby, perfect. I know what we're getting.
Yeah.
So essentially, also it's completely SIDS approved. So millions and millions of hours of testing and being actual a product out there.
Wow.
Not a single injury or death.
Wow.
Not a single one. Like
Yeah.
you're not even.
And you said
any,
it has a weaning mode as well, right? So
yeah. So when you start with it, you kind of limit the like how strong it is, but it listens to their crying and will start rocking them gently and then increase the volume of the white noise and the rocking.
Yeah.
And generally
Doesn't get to British nanny levels, so there's no like.
and then so they go back to sleep and it's perfect for that. If they're hungry or need a nappy change, like it's not going to work, and it'll.
It's not going to change the nappy for you.
No, sadly,
not yet.
But it'll turn off and give you a notification. You know, kind of like come care for your child, please.
Yeah, this is all I can do.
Yeah,
that's sick.
But it also, I can say like I'm fairly certain that it actually trained my baby. She's now 14 months old to chain her sleep cycles together, and now she sleeps through the night.
Whoa!
Like she goes to bed at 6 and wakes up at 8.
Lucky you.
Yeah.
Wow. That's magic.
So
Thanks, Alex. Good share.
Yeah, if you got a baby on the way, the snoo is seriously the best investment for my own sanity.
SNOO. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
We used the Nanit for a long time, which is
really good.
like a
So we've
camera.
got Cubo, which is kind of like Nano.
Yeah,
And we put it over the top.
Awesome. And then it gave you sort of some sort of rough analytics on sleep time and hotspots. More interesting than useful, to be honest, but still, like for a gadget guy, it was pretty fun.
We use the app Huckleberry, which you put that sleep data into, and then it will tell you like what's the best time to put them back down.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, cool.
So Huckleberry and the snoo, that has.
Thank you.
If you got a baby on the way.
Yeah, and like talking about a bug list, like having a baby, there are so many. It's just such a complicated and stressful and time for people. So
and for even if you're not the one who gets up through the night to feed them, just being able to feed them and then put them back down and go to bed.
Yeah.
You don't have to do that.
Yeah,
30 minutes of rocking. You know, like the snoo takes care of it. Yeah,
so cool.
Brilliant.
Final plug or ask from you guys. What would you like people to do, or if people are interested in Ninja software, how should they get involved?
Well, you can reach out on LinkedIn, obviously.
Website?
Yeah.
Ninjasoftware.com.au.
Yep.
Great.
It's about to get a huge update.
Is it? Exciting.
So at the moment it's pretty cool, but it's going to get a lot cooler.
Overdue.
You're like superhero or whatever, like comic character features on there are so cool.
We figured as a software engineering company, our website has to be amazing and custom.
Oh, you understand as well, right?
Yeah.
It's so important. I guess the other side of it, like people hear about all the SaaS stuff we do, and that's what we love doing. But the another service we do is called a tech assessment. And that's free. And we essentially, if you're a founder, we'll come visit you, have a look at how you're using your technology, how you could improve it. And these are even in ways that we don't actually provide the service for. So, if we came into your office and we saw that there was a server sitting on the floor and that's where your email lived, we would connect you with another company who'd move you to Office 365.
Yeah.
There's tons of business owners and founders out there who just in the dark.
Yeah. They don't know what they don't know.
Yeah, exactly. And they don't have the time or the expertise.
Yeah, we just come and have a look.
Or the trust. Because there's so many digital transformation companies that are literally just there to rip you off. We use this tech assessment service to essentially meet new people and find new businesses. And if we see a real opportunity, then obviously we pitch them. But the actual point of it is to improve how people are using their tech.
Yep. Yeah, awesome. And of course, the other plug is check out Tech Society, podcast. You guys are in the
That's right. Tech Society
almost 100 episodes. Yeah,
awesome. 100 will be coming soon. I'm not sure when this will go out, so maybe the 100 will already be out by then. But
that's a very exciting milestone. Well done, boys. That's fantastic.
Well, I always say if you're going to take on a new thing like doing a podcast, you got to do it 100 times at least.
Big time. Yeah, well done. Well, I think this is going to be episode mid-20s for Weird Growth, so we've got a long way to go, but so good to have you on here, guys. John, Alex from Ninja Software, really appreciate your time. Thanks for being on.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for listening to Weird Growth, another great episode. If you liked this one, please do review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts. We're also on YouTube, so if you're listening to this, you could have watched it if you wanted to. Check us out on YouTube. subscribe, leave a review. But until next time, bye-bye.
Lead Growth is brought to you by a new product from Ammo Marketing called MyFunnel. For early stage founders, it can be really hard to know what channels and tactics to use for your startup marketing. So we've built a free tool that generates a marketing funnel for your startup. Go to myfunnel.com.au, answer a few questions, and you'll have something in your inbox in 5 seconds.